This year is a very exciting time for Zelda fans. We got the announcement for Breath of the Wild 2, a cool indie game called Cadence of Hyrule released, and last but not least, the Link's Awakening remake will release in less than a month. And boy am I excited for this one! But being that the game released in 1993, it could be that you need to refresh your memory on what makes this game great, or maybe you even haven't played this game yet. So let me help you out. Here are 5 reasons why you should get greatly excited for this game. And if you are already excited, then let me try to crank up those numbers even more so. I'm a lifelong Zelda fan, and I also absolutely loved Breath of the Wild. But even how amazing that game was, it still left me somewhat thirsty for some good old Zelda action. With this I mean multiple dungeons, obtaining more and more items as you go along, and unlocking parts of the map thanks to those items. And finally, next month we can do exactly that. Don't get me wrong, it's amazing that you are able to go wherever you want in Breath of the Wild and beat the divine beasts in any order. But it also has its charm to want to access an area that you are unable to get to, just to come back later to finally get in. It also really makes you appreciate the map more by visiting places multiple times. You get a sense that you understand where you are and you get familiar with your surroundings. Also, by getting more items as you progress is a powerful feeling. That's why games like Hollow Knight and Shantae are still performing so well. You start out as a simple guy with a sword and a shield, and before you know it you are able to jump, run and throw around some magic powder. Progression is key in this game, and it makes it an awesome experience because of it. The Legend of Zelda series is known for its silly characters, and Link's Awakening is no exception. This game is pretty meta, so expect the characters to be meta too. What about these kids that try to explain different handy things like opening your map or saving? But then they end their sentence by explaining that they're just kids, so they don't know what they're talking about. I mean, they are NPCs, they're not supposed to know how to open a map. Or what about this dude, who already knows that he will get lost in the hills later, so you can look forward to that. Hey, and here's a phone with a man on the other line, who will give you some handy tips. Maybe we should visit him. Oh no, he's too shy to talk in real life, so you can only interact with him over the phone. So that's just a couple of examples on how these characters help you have a fun experience and make you giggle in the meantime. Expect a whole lot more to discover in that sense. Did you also know that there is a village consisting of only animals? I can't wait to see how that's going to look in the full Switch's glory. The trading sequence. This is something that appeared in multiple Zelda games, but Link's Awakening was the first one to do so. I won't show everything that you have to trade so you can discover it for yourself, but this is just to give you an idea. The trading sequence means that you have to trade specific items with specific people to get other items back in return. It starts off simply with a mother asking for a Yoshi doll for a child, after which she will give you a ribbon. Now it's up to you to find a person that could make use of that ribbon. So it's important upon playing the game that you pay attention what people have need of. Because it could be that you're not yet in possession of that item upon talking to them. The crazy thing is that the trading sequence is something that is mandatory for completing the game. Because you will get a certain item that will help you greatly at the end. You might be able to finish the game without it if you're a Link's Awakening veteran, but I still suggest that you get it. For the concept of the trade sequence, the developers took inspiration from the Japanese folktale The Straw Millionaire, where an unlucky peasant trades a piece of straw for increasingly valuable items, which ends up with him becoming a millionaire. I don't think you can get $1 million by trading the Yoshi doll, but hey, you can try. As you may or may not know, Link's Awakening doesn't take place in Hyrule. Instead, it takes place on Koholint Island. So if you're familiar with the Zelda series but haven't played this one yet, then you have a completely new region to explore. And as we have seen from promos and trailers, this version of Koholint Island is absolutely gorgeous. With as literal peak, the Windfish's Egg on top of the mountain. It has a lot more interesting locations like Mabe Village, the previously mentioned Animal Village, the mysterious forest, and of course, a whole lot more secrets and caves to be found. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Expect a whole lot more places with different terrains and climates. Again, I won't mention them all here, because part of the journey is to experience it for yourself. What we have seen from the footage of the remake is that they have stayed pretty true to the original design. And sometimes even the same amount of tiles that contain the same amount of grass in both versions. So I don't think they will go out of their way to do things very differently. And that's a good thing in my opinion. Let people enjoy the setting that they grew up with and loved. Oh man, if you like the Legend of Zelda music, then you will be in for a treat. Although the game released in 1993 and had 8-bit music, it was still something really special. Especially because all the dungeons would have different music, which would be the first game in the series to do so. And remember, this is a Game Boy game, but when we look at the list you can see that it had a whopping 79 tracks. That's a lot for a game at that time. And what an amazing music that was! Just because it was 8-bit didn't mean that it had an absolute unique feeling compared to the other games in the series. Of course, it had some recurring Zelda themes in its music, which we all expect and love, but the game also dared to go in a different direction, with quirky and more mysterious compositions. So now to be able to hear those amazing classic tracks in a totally next-gen upgraded way is really something to look forward to. That means that tracks like this go to this, and tracks like this will end up like this. Honestly, I'm so excited to get slapped in the face with nostalgia while exploring this beautiful game once again, with all the amazing music in the background. And believe me, you should be excited about that. I mean, the game is pretty much focused on music, with you collecting music instruments and all that. So get ready for some ultimate pleasure for your ears. But that's just a couple of things to get excited about. I didn't even talk about the amazing dungeons, a lot of puzzling, all the cameos from the other Nintendo franchises, the return of Dampé, and the whole create your own dungeon game. There's so much to do and explore here, and it has been one of my most anticipated games for this year. So hold on friends, just a couple of more weeks. But do you know what I'm really curious about? The thing that you are the most excited about in this game. Is it something I mentioned or is it something completely else? Let me know in the comments. Hey you! Thanks so much for watching. If you're a fan of games and Nintendo, be sure to subscribe to the channel, because there is a whole lot more awesome stuff on the way. If you want, you can check out one of my other videos on screen right now. Thanks again, and I will see you next time.